So for this project, I decided to do a video in the style of a Draw My Life video. But instead of drawing my life, I'm going to be drawing my life over the past few years. Starting from day 1, the first day of grade 4. Now, I remember being really confused and scared. 1, because all the grade 8s were really tall and had beards, and no one from my old school had those. And 2, because they were going to be so good dancers and singers and artists and really smart people, and I was never really used to being around new people. I had had the same group of people since I was as young as I could remember. So, I made a bunch of friends. The ones that I clearly remember from grade 4 were Alexandra, Astrid, Sabrina, Grace, and of course Sarah. So one day, me and Sarah were sitting next to each other in class, and Miss Fernandez was giving a speech about sharing your smile. Now, we weren't thinking much of it at the time, but later that week we saw Dylan sitting all by himself, and we decided to reach out and, per se, share our smile. And that's how I became friends with Dylan, and this speech from Miss Fernandez really taught me that no matter how a person is acting, you need to give them a chance and you need to reach out to them and share your smile. And I think that was one of the defining moments of grade 4 for me. Now, another moment of grade 4, which you'll see in a second, is when one of Sarah's other friends, because me, Sarah, and Dylan hung out almost every day, or at least 3 times a week, but one of Sarah's other friends, Julia, we thought she decided she hated Dylan, and that's why she did it, but in reality she probably just fell. Regardless, Julia was all like, "I hate you!" which you'll see in a moment. And then she decided to stomp on Dylan's foot. Accidentally or not, no one really knows. But, I mean, considering we're best friends now, this really taught me not to judge people from first impressions and everything. Anyways, we thought she was like a huge bully, so we never talked to her. And that brings us to grade 5. Now, in grade 5, Sarah unfortunately wasn't in my class, but I did have Dylan and Alexandra, who for some reason I chose to be Lemon from Strawberry Shortcake, but that's Alexandra right there. And me and Dylan also became pretty close with Martin. Now, me and Martin are pretty good friends now, and we were pretty good friends in grade 5 until he started saying some pretty mean things to me and Dylan, telling Dylan he wasn't boyish enough, and telling me I wasn't, thin enough, and it really made us feel really upset. And this kind of told us that we don't have to surround ourselves with people that make us feel upset, because he really just made us feel like losers. But Alexandra's always helped me when I'm feeling upset, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited to be going to school with her next year. But even in grade 5, she for me and a few other people, she made us a scavenger hunt, almost once a week for the whole year. And that was always the highlight of my week. So in grade 6, 2 new people came to the school that have changed my time here a lot. One being Andrew, and one being Guppy, or Alex Y, who's currently in grade 6, who looks like an angry, nerdy guy for some reason. But anyways, there's me, and there's Dylan. And one thing I really do remember from the first day of grade 4, from the first day of grade 6, is that Shale and Andrew got in a really big dance battle, and they started to get really competitive and angry at each other. And I didn't really know why, and then Dylan did something that was really great, which was he just jumped in and made a joke out of it, and kind of made them realize that they were being really stupid, because they were actually fighting over something as silly as trying to prove who was the better dancer. Anyways, so Dylan won the dance battle, obviously. But one thing that was really hard for me in grade 6 was I didn't get along too well with Miss Van de Sanden, because I just didn't really understand her way of teaching. I found that she yelled a lot, which made me really scared, and it made me anxious, and I was just really confused most of the time. And I think that was one of the hardest things for me in grade 5 and 6. So that brings us to grade 7. Now, at the beginning of grade 7, I was so excited because me and Astrid got to room together for Monocliffs. And I really loved Monocliffs. It was great. But I do know when I got back, Sabrina told me something which absolutely sucked, which was that she was moving out to Barry. And that was really hard for me because she was one of my best friends. But even now, we still keep in contact with each other. And that's really helped me because it shows me that no matter how far away you get from someone, you can still keep close with them, which is, I'm pretty sure, a skill that's going to come in handy for next year when I have to keep in contact with my Claude friends. Grade 7 was a pretty hard year for me academically. I found it a lot harder than any of my other years at Claude, and I really just didn't understand most of the things I was learning, but the hardest part was, no matter how hard I studied, I still wasn't getting as good marks as most of my friends. And here's one of the funniest parts of grade 7, when Astrid started dating Zach, who is here a football player, but that's because I couldn't find a hockey jersey. Anyways, so I, being the genius that I am, decided that their couple name would be Zastrid Chekamora. And I was very creepy, and I took a lot of pictures of them, and that was great. I mean, of course they broke up, because it's a grade 7 relationship, so of course they're going to break up. But that was clearly the highlight of my year. Anyways, that brings us to grade 8. So I'm going to start from literally the beginning of grade 8 at the Welcome Back barbecue. So me and Sarah were hanging out. And I was hanging out with the evil bully, Julia. And then I realized she wasn't an evil bully, but I actually realized that in, grade 5. But anyways, we were hanging out, and that was when me, Sarah, and Maddie became pretty close, because I wasn't that close with them last year. We all decided to room together for Ottawa, and that was really, really fun. I remember one of the nights in Ottawa, we all tried to sleep in the same bed, and ended up kicking Maddie off so she slept on the ground, and we ate a lot of candy, and it was just really fun. So that was definitely the highlight of my year. But one of the things that was pretty hard for me this year, and I'm sure it was really, really hard for her too, was having to deal with Allie, because she's pretty clingy, but the hardest part was she would always tell me so many of her problems, and I didn't know how to respond to them as much as I'd like to help, because I'm not trained to know how to deal with any of this stuff. The thing is, I understand that she's feeling really alone, because she is going through a lot, whether it's finding herself, or all of the time that she had to spend at the hospital, and so I really don't know how to deal with it. Anyways, I was very anxious that I wouldn't get into Earl Haig, but gladly I did. And I was super happy until I realized that some of my very best friends weren't going to the same school as me next year. So, as sad as that makes me, I'm pretty sure that Earl Haig's going to be the right place for me, so I'm really excited that I'm going there. And I'm sure that all the skills that I've learned will help me make new friends next year, as well as keeping in contact with the ones that I've made in the past 5 years. Thank you, Claude, for all the lessons that you've taught me, and for the past 5 years. Goodbye.